I stood in front of the HOA, holding up photos that proved their queen, Karen, had been breaking the very rules she fined my daughter for. The room gasped, her own son turned against her, and that's when everything exploded. I still remember the heat that day, sweat on my back, my daughter Evelyn squealing with joy as we rolled out her bright plastic slip and slide. The sunlight bounced off the water, sparkling like diamonds, while neighborhood kids gathered to watch. Evelyn's face glowed with anticipation, her tiny swimsuit dripping with sprinkler water. That's when Karen stormed up, her red blazer stiff like armor, clipboard tucked under her arm, lips curled in disgust, pointing directly at my daughter. Her voice cracked the air. "This is against HOA rules. You can't set up a slip and slide on your own lawn. Remove it immediately or face fines." Evelyn froze, confusion painted across her little face. The joy drained from her eyes, replaced by trembling fear. Tears welled as Karen's tone sharpened cruelly. I knelt beside my daughter, whispering, "It's okay, sweetheart," but inside rage twisted. My fists clenched. Her laughter had been stolen in seconds by unnecessary cruelty. What Karen didn't realize was that her own son, Micah, Evelyn's best friend, had been giggling right beside her moments before the shouting began. Micah stepped back, eyes darting between his mother and Evelyn. His innocence was caught in the firestorm of adult rules and neighborhood power struggles. Neighbors peeked from porches, whispers rising like smoke. Everyone saw it, a 5-year-old shamed for playing on her family's own patch of grass. That moment, Evelyn's tears sparked something inside me. Before we continue, please drop a like and comment below with your country and what time it is right now where you're watching. Whether it's sunrise in Australia, midnight in New York, afternoon in Canada, or evening in France, I want to know. Don't just sit back, tell me where in the world you are. Now, let's dive into the story. It wasn't just about water and grass anymore. It was about power, dignity, and protecting my child. Cliffhanger. Karen's son suddenly shouted something that silenced the crowd. To understand that day, you have to know our neighborhood. We lived on Wilkes-Barre Drive, a row of perfect lawns and iron-fisted HOA board members. My wife, Julia, and I had moved in 10 years earlier, believing the HOA would keep things tidy and safe. Instead, it became a chokehold. Karen wasn't just any neighbor, she was the HOA's self-appointed queen. Clipboard in hand, she patrolled sidewalks like a prison warden, correcting mailboxes, lawns, and children's toys. Her son Micah, though, was nothing like her. A sweet boy, 7 years old, always running barefoot, chasing Evelyn with toy trucks, laughing under summer skies. Evelyn adored him. Their bond was innocent, pure, untouched by the iron rules that parents like Karen twisted into weapons. Their play reminded me of childhood freedom. I had grown up without HOAs, just wide yards and laughter echoing across dirt roads. That memory fueled my frustration whenever Karen's rules silenced joy. For weeks, Evelyn begged for the slip and slide. I finally gave in, buying it secretly, planning a surprise for her Saturday afternoon when the sun was high. We rolled it out, water spraying everywhere. Her squeals drew kids from houses, until nearly a dozen gathered. It was laughter, innocence, everything a childhood summer should be. But Karen, ever watchful, spotted us. Her steps quickened, heels clacking like warnings. She'd been waiting for this moment, another excuse to tighten the HOA's noose. Cliffhanger. Karen raised her clipboard, announcing fines that would stun every neighbor. Karen's voice carried across the lawns. "This is a violation. You'll be fined $500 for water misuse and damaging the grass. Pack it up immediately." Gasps rippled through the neighbors. $500, an outrageous sum for something so harmless. Evelyn sobbed harder, clutching my leg as if hiding from Karen's venom. I stood, shielding her. "This is our property, Karen. My daughter deserves to play. No rule says kids can't laugh in their own yard." Her smirk deepened. "Rules are rules. Slip and slides tear grass, cause accidents, and drive down property values. You signed the bylaws when you moved in, remember?" Every word cut like glass. She wasn't protecting grass, she was crushing spirits. The sight of Evelyn's trembling lips and swollen eyes carved fury into my chest. Micah spoke up, surprising us all. But Mom, I was playing too. Why can't we play? It's fun. His innocence exposed Karen's hypocrisy instantly. Karen snapped, Micah, inside. Now. But he didn't move. His loyalty to Evelyn outweighed fear of his mother. That defiance cracked the facade Karen wore daily. The neighbors murmured louder. Mothers shook their heads, fathers muttered curses. For once, people weren't nodding at Karen's commands, they were questioning them. I bent down to Evelyn, whispering, You did nothing wrong. She clung tighter, tears soaking my shirt. In that moment I swore I'd fight back. Cliffhanger. Karen promised she'd bring the entire HOA board to my doorstep by sundown. As the sun dipped low, golden light washed over Wilkes-Barre Drive. But the air wasn't peaceful. It vibrated with anticipation of the confrontation Karen promised. Sure enough, 3 HOA board members appeared at my driveway, clipboards in hand, Karen leading them like a general with her soldiers lined behind her. Neighbors gathered silently. Some leaned against mailboxes, others peeked from porches. My daughter sat on the porch steps, still clutching her swimsuit towel like a shield. Mr. Harlan, one board member began, You violated multiple HOA regulations today. Water misuse, lawn damage, and unauthorized recreational equipment. The fine is non-negotiable. My jaw clenched. My 5-year-old played with a slip-and-slide. That's what this is about? Punishing children while grown adults gossip and enforce imaginary laws. Karen interrupted, voice sharp. Don't twist this. You agreed to community standards. If everyone broke them, this neighborhood would fall into chaos. You're setting a bad example. From behind her, Micah shouted, But I was sliding too. Are you gonna fine me too? His words struck like lightning, freezing the entire circle. Karen's cheeks flushed crimson. She tried to silence him, but it was too late. The neighbors were whispering again, siding more with Micah and Evelyn. One board member looked uneasy. Perhaps we should revisit the guidelines. This is escalating unnecessarily. For the first time, cracks appeared in the board's iron wall. Cliffhanger. Karen swore she'd personally collect evidence against me, even if it meant using my daughter as proof. The next morning, I found Karen outside our lawn, snapping photos with her phone. She zoomed in on wet patches of grass, documenting every drop of water. She noticed me watching. Evidence, she hissed. The board won't ignore this. By the end of the week, your fine will double. Evelyn's antics won't be forgotten. Her words stabbed me. Using my child's laughter as ammunition crossed a line I couldn't ignore. My blood boiled, but I knew anger wasn't enough. Later that day, Julia told me Karen had posted in the neighborhood Facebook group pictures of Evelyn crying, captions accusing us of reckless parenting and rule-breaking. The betrayal spread fast. Some neighbors commented in support, but others piled on, repeating Karen's lies, claiming our lawn water ran into streets, causing unsafe conditions. I felt trapped. HOA rules had become weapons. Social media turned into Karen's megaphone. Even friends hesitated to speak publicly against her powerful grip. Evelyn asked softly, Daddy, did I do something bad? My chest tightened. I knelt, whispering, No, sweetheart. They're wrong. You did nothing but smile and play. But deep down, I wondered how far Karen would go. Would she drag this into court? Destroy our reputation just to prove she controlled everything? That night, I pulled out the bylaws, determined to find cracks in her fortress. If Karen wanted war, I'd use her own weapons against her. Cliffhanger. I discovered a hidden rule Karen herself had broken multiple times. Buried deep in the HOA bylaws, I found a clause about unauthorized landscaping structures. Decorative fountains, statues, and permanent yard toys required board approval. Karen's yard, ironically, flaunted 2 oversized concrete birdbaths, installed without a single permit. Neighbors had admired them, but they violated the rules she worshipped. I snapped photos discreetly, careful not to be seen. Each picture felt like loading ammunition, proof that the queen herself played dirty behind her polished facade. The next HOA meeting arrived. Karen strutted in confidently, ready to paint me as the villain. Evelyn sat with Julia, her small hand gripping mine tightly. When Karen presented her evidence, I stayed quiet until the last slide. Then I stood, projecting my photos onto the board screen. Gasps filled the room. "There's your rule breaker," I said coldly. "The same woman who fined my 5-year-old for water play has been in violation for years. Shouldn't the fine be doubled?" Karen's face went pale. She stuttered, trying to defend the bird baths as community art, but the bylaws didn't lie. Her own hypocrisy stood naked in the spotlight. Micah, seated at the back, whispered loudly, "Mom, you broke the rules too?" His innocent voice cut sharper than any accusation I could have made. Neighbors murmured, eyes shifting, alliances breaking. The board's authority wavered as Karen's empire crumbled in real time. She had overplayed her hand and been caught. Cliffhanger. Karen's rage erupted, threatening something that would shake the entire neighborhood. Karen slammed her clipboard onto the table. "You think this will stop me? I'll take this to court. I'll see you removed from this community permanently." The board members exchanged nervous glances. One muttered, "That's extreme." But Karen's pride was bleeding, and she couldn't back down. She had to destroy me. Back at home, rumors spread fast. Karen told anyone who'd listen that I was dangerous, reckless, even unfit as a father. Her poison dripped everywhere. Julia begged me to drop it. "She's powerful, Matt. She'll drag us through hell. Evelyn's too young for this fight." Her eyes glistened with exhaustion and fear. But I couldn't surrender. Every time I remembered Evelyn's tears, my resolve hardened. If I quit, Karen's cruelty would rule every child on Wilkes-Barre Drive. I doubled down, gathering more evidence of Karen's manipulations, emails, texts, Facebook posts where she bullied other parents into silence. Each file felt like armor against her attacks. Micah came over secretly one afternoon. His small voice shook. "Dad, I mean Mr. Harlan. Mom said I can't play with Evelyn anymore. She says she'll punish me." My chest ached. A child torn between love for his friend and fear of his own mother's iron fist. Karen wasn't just hurting us, she was breaking him too. I hugged him gently, promising, "This will end. You'll both play freely again." But deep down, I knew it would get uglier before it ended. Cliffhanger. Karen filed a lawsuit against me the next day. The courthouse smelled of old wood and tension. Karen sat smugly across the aisle, her lawyer whispering in her ear, while Evelyn clutched Julia's trembling hand. The judge, stern and gray-haired, eyed the documents before him. Karen's accusations painted me as negligent, endangering children with unsafe water toys, and violating HOA agreements. I countered with photos of her illegal bird baths, her online bullying posts, even neighbors' testimonies about her harassment. Each exhibit chipped away at her towering arrogance. When Micah was called to the stand, the courtroom gasped. Karen's son, 7 years old, forced to testify in his mother's crusade against childhood laughter. His voice shook, but he told the truth. I was playing too. Evelyn didn't do anything bad. We were just having fun. Mom got mad. Karen's face twisted. She hissed under her breath, but the damage was done. The jury of neighbors and peers shifted visibly in their seats, sympathy rising. The judge leaned forward. This appears less about community safety and more about personal control. I see no grounds for these fines or this lawsuit. The gavel cracked down, echoing through the room. Case dismissed. Relief washed over me, but Karen's fury boiled, visible in the tremor of her clenched fists. We walked out free, Evelyn smiling faintly for the first time in weeks. But I knew Karen wouldn't stop, not until she burned everything around her. Cliffhanger. That night, Karen vandalized our lawn, leaving a chilling message. Morning light revealed spray-painted words across our driveway, "Rule breakers don't belong." My stomach dropped, Julia gasped, and Evelyn hid behind me, terrified of the red-scrawled letters. Neighbors gathered, whispers louder than ever. Everyone knew who did it. Karen's signature rage was written across the concrete in dripping, angry strokes of defiance. I called the police. An officer took photos, nodding gravely. "This is harassment. If you press charges, she'll face consequences." Finally, Accountability seemed possible. When Karen arrived, screaming innocence, Micah stood silently behind her, his eyes wet. I realized then, she wasn't just losing power, she was losing her own son. The officer handed her a warning. "One more incident, ma'am, and it won't be warnings. It'll be charges." Karen's face flushed, her empire shrinking before everyone's eyes. I addressed the crowd. "This isn't about rules. It's about children being allowed to laugh. If we let fear rule, no one here is truly free." Applause broke out. Parents clapped, kids cheered. Even some board members nodded in agreement. For the first time, the community stood together against Karen's iron grip. Karen stormed off, dragging Micah by the arm, but he looked back, eyes meeting Evelyn's, silently promising their friendship wasn't broken, no matter his mother's rage. Julia hugged me, whispering, "You did it." But my heart knew the scars Karen left on Evelyn's innocence would never fully fade away. Cliffhanger. Weeks later, Karen shocked everyone with a desperate move. Karen resigned from the HOA board. The queen of Wilkes-Barre Drive, dethroned by her own cruelty, slinked into silence, her empire of clipboards crumbling around her. Neighbors celebrated with block parties, laughter echoing where fear once lingered. Children played freely, sprinklers dancing across lawns without threats of fines or cruel interruptions. Evelyn regained her sparkle, sliding across the lawn with friends, her squeals carrying into the sky. I watched, tears in my eyes, finally seeing her joy return. Micah joined too, laughing louder than ever. His bond with Evelyn grew stronger, proof that even in the shadow of cruelty, friendship could bloom defiantly. Karen, though, sat in her house, blinds drawn. She became a ghost in the neighborhood she once ruled, her own son slipping from her controlling grasp. Years passed, and whenever Evelyn asked, "Daddy, remember when Karen tried to stop us?" I'd smile softly, knowing it had become our family's story of resilience. The slip and slide, tattered and old, still sat folded in our garage. I kept it as a relic, proof of the fight that reshaped our community forever. Looking back now, decades later, I see it wasn't about toys or grass. It was about standing up when innocence was attacked by arrogance. And I'll never forget Evelyn's tears that day, the spark that forced us all to rise against cruelty, turning a neighborhood fight into a legacy of freedom.